2 homebrew videos back to back, but that should be no surprise, as it's my favorite thing to talk about. I'm sure if you're watching this, you're already aware of the ReiHEN competition. Well, I know we all have things that we want to see from this competition, and me being a big fan just like the rest of you, I have a list of things that I would like to see. And this here is my list. So besides just discussing what I want to see, I also want to talk about how probable these things are to be submitted to the competition. But before we begin, just remember, don't harass any devs online, don't go onto servers port begging, whatever it is that you want to see, leave it down here in the comments below, and let's have a discussion instead. Who knows, maybe someone who's looking for inspiration might see one of your suggestions and run with it. So first, let's start with ports. Now we all know we're going to get a few Android ports. I honestly would be shocked if there isn't at least 2 different Android ports. Honestly, 99% of my gaming time spent on my phone is Sudoku or connections. However, there are still a couple of things that I would like to see on the Android list. The first is Door Kickers, which is a real-time tactics SWAT game. I own it on Steam, and I still haven't gotten around to it because my backlog is huge. Though the game's always looked fun to me, right up my alley. However, I'm unsure of the popularity of the game, so the likelihood of it being brought to the Vita I think might be pretty low. But who knows, I might actually be surprised. Then we have Half-Life 2, which is one of my all-time favorite first-person shooter games. I'm sure it's on your list as well. I would love to see a port of this on the Vita, as I'm sure it would bring back a lot of memories about playing the game on the original Xbox, before I was able to afford a PC that could actually run the game decently. Though I'm not really sure how well optimized the Android port is. And honestly, I'm not really sure if the Vita's actually cut out to run the game. I would love to be proven wrong. For this, I say unlikely, but not for popularity reasons, but for technical limitations. Then the last game is House of the Dead Overkill. I always thought the light gun genre would thrive on the Vita, since we have touch controls, joysticks, and gyro. Plus, what game is better in the genre besides House of the Dead? Well, I mean technically Time Crisis, but I don't think there's a mobile game for Time Crisis, so the second best game in the genre is going to have to do. I think we might have a chance for this one. We did get that crazy taxi port, and if they both share a similar renderer, then it could be a rather easy port, though I've never looked into this, so I can't say that with any certainty. So for this one I say, maybe? Now for regular ports. I think we already have all available N64 ports, so those are all going to be off the table for my list. The first source port is Free Civ. I'm a huge Civilization fan, especially Civ 3, so having Civ 2 on my Vita would be awesome. Though I might be the only person who wants classic Civ, so I doubt this one will be coming. Crossing my fingers for a port of OpenJK, that's Open Jedi Knight for those that are not aware. As I'm a huge fan of Jedi Outcast, and even if it only runs about 20 frames per second on my Vita, I'd happily play through the game. The last time I checked, it had issues, so I'm not really holding my breath for a breakthrough. Then again, these competitions do bring a lot of surprises, and I wouldn't mind being pleasantly surprised. Fingers crossed. And then the last port I'd like to see is Blades of Exile. Now, this game is a classic style RPG, made by my personal favorite RPG studio, Spiderweb Software. This game is very mouse heavy, and would take a lot of work to move it over to the Vita, and I'm unsure how many people in the community are actually a fan of the studio. However, if someone does port it over and makes it playable on the Vita, I would be your biggest fan, for whatever it's worth. Now for original games. I hope to see something ambitious, and maybe a bit overscoped, at least for the time frame. I hope to see an RPG, just like I tried to do years ago with Galactic Federation during Gekihen. I hope someone does something similar. I know these kinds of games will never win because the game loop is too big to develop in such a short time and are mostly driven by content. But then after the competition, that individual would be on the road creating an expansive original game, which is something I think we need more and more of in the scene. And then next, I hope someone creates a much tighter and polished arcade experience, 2D or 3D. Honestly, I'm not too particular. And then lastly, I hope to see some returning faces to the competition who will go on to make something great. It would be cool to see the return of Vita Hex. I'm waiting to see whatever Crate is cooking up, as he always has great games for these competitions. And hopefully a return of Wide GCG as well, as I really enjoyed Boxing Girl. We even received a new 3D engine called Zenity Engine, which is a Unity-like game engine, but made using the Vita SDK in C++ instead of C#. Best of all, it doesn't sit in that gray area. So I really hope we see someone use this engine in this competition. I still haven't checked it out yet, but hopefully I will before the end of the year. Who knows, it might be used in one of my next projects. Now as far as tools and plugins go, I'm not really sure what we have left on that front. Maybe something that allows you to stream music while you play a game, or a messaging app since you can no longer send messages on your Vita. Honestly, there's not really much else I can think of in that regard, but if you have any ideas, feel free to drop those down below. Again, like I said earlier, please don't harass any devs, report bag in any of the Discords or Twitter. Leave those hopes and dreams down in the comments instead, and let's just see how the competition goes. Anyways, that's it for today, everyone. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your time.